Hi everyone, welcome to the sixth episode of the Parade Planners podcast. We got lots and lots of news to talk about this week. We got the whole Leafs and Sens series. We got some trades, trade rumors. We got a lot of stuff going on around the league, and we also have Michael back on the podcast again after the last episode. He was just so much fun to have on the podcast, and now we have stuff to roast about him. But I don't know, the Leafs and Sens series was pretty close, so we'll see about that. Michael, what were your impressions on the Leafs and Sens series?
I mean, I gotta say, it was a lot better than I was hoping for. Because, I said last week on the podcast, I was expecting 0-3, like a couple wipeouts of like 5-2, 5-1, whatever. We had one of them. And then, honestly, there should have been a second. I don't know how we came back in that first one. The second game was really good. So, honestly, I was pretty happy with how everything ended up getting played out. I mean, I know the first game hurt you guys a lot, but then you guys paid it back in game 3, so it kind of evened out, more or less.
Man, it was a close series. Like that first game, whatever happened, happened. But even that second game, like Ottawa fought hard against the Leafs in that second game. It was like a very neck and neck close game. Third one was a blowout, and the third one is what I was expecting for the whole series. But honestly, like I guess I'm glad that it was competitive because it makes for better hockey to watch. I mean, like it does make me want to pull my hair out sometimes when they blow a 5-1 lead. But if the Leafs aren't blowing 5-1 leads, are they really the Leafs guys? Like, come on.
I felt like the 5-1 blown lead was kind of what the team needed. Just a bit of a step back from they where they were from protecting lead wise, because the past couple of games they getting a little too sloppy with the puck. So I felt like that 5-1 lead, like it made them like reset the system a bit, reset the fact that we're not like a defensive juggernaut enough to hold like a 5-1 lead, or like stuff like that. They're getting stopped with the puck. That's what the factor was for the 5-1 lead blown.
It was due though. Like they've been playing so well the whole season. Like no team is gonna play a perfect, 56 or 82 games, right? In any year. Like this is not basketball where you can have the Golden State Warriors going like 73-9 or whatever ridiculous record they had. Like hockey's a lot more, like there's a lot more lucky bounces here and there. There's a lot more momentum shifts and stuff like that, and it's a lot more parity in the league. So like no team is gonna be playing out of their mind every single night. And just like Discard said, it's good they had that game now and against Ottawa, where like giving up points to Ottawa doesn't matter, and they can take that lesson and learn from it and move forward, which they did definitely. Like if you look at that third game, like they dominated the Sens. They had a 5-1 lead in that game and they won 7-3, which yeah, they did give up 2 goals, but they also got 2 goals as well and played competitive. So like all in all, I'm happy. 5 points out of 6 is really good. I would have liked the extra point, but at this point we're number 1 in the league. I don't think we really need it, so it's pretty good. I'm happy with it.
So I was reading about like how the Washington Capitals, when they won the cup, they blew a 5-1 lead, I think, to the New York Islanders. That shows a lot, and even Old Dog was saying like even the '90s Red Wings could have blown this lead. Anyone could have blown this lead. It just happens to be the Leafs, right?
No, but like it's good because like teams need adversity to learn from, right? Like this is a learning lesson that Sheldon Keefe can take to the team and really teach them. But man, those the Sens played amazing though. Like I'm really really impressed with the Sens players. Like I don't know if they've been playing against this way against the entire league, but they hustled their asses off against the Leafs. Like Stützle was amazing. They got like so many young players: Norris, Batherson, Kachuk. Like they got Shabbat. Like I think the Sens are going to be a really good team to reckon with. It seems like they play with a lot of heart, which is really important for young players, right? Like if you have that drive from early on, it's going to carry on throughout your career. So I'm impressed with the Sens, man.
I think the
Yeah,
nice
and I
thing.
feel,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think because the nice thing too is that like they're young and they're not getting like disheartened by being smoked in half their games. I mean, if you look at the goals that you gave up I think it's 14 goals across 3 games. Like they still played. I mean, then again, the third game was kind of iffy, but like over the course of like the first game, it was like they didn't give it up. And like when you're young, your mentality is a big factor in how you play, and they kept it really consistent across the board. I mean, it helps that you have some veterans on the lineup, but making sure they maintain that mentality throughout the entire game, and then they brought it all the way back, and that's something that you don't see out of a lot of young teams, right? So that was pretty huge, I think, for me, and that shows a lot of promise in the future as well. So I'm pretty happy with how that went.
Yeah, what Michael's saying, it's good to see them not getting disheartened when they're down. Last night when I was watching the game, I felt like they really missed Thomas Chabot. Um, he's the leading like goal scorer, or not even goal scorer, like their top D man. They're really missing him last night because it looked like Wolanin did not belong in the top power play unit when they ever had a power play.
I definitely agree on that front. I'm still not entirely sure what he went out with. Like, they just said he has an upper body injury. He had a lower body injury before, so I'm not entirely sure what knocked him out of the game. But I felt like they definitely missed him in that game. It was kind of unfortunate.
I know there's like some complaints about like Brandstrom stuff too, but like to me he looked fine. Like he looked like any other young defenseman. So I feel like even Brandstrom could end up panning out. Like a top three defenseman of Shabbat, Brandstrom, and Sanderson sounds pretty good to me. Sounds scary if anything.
Don't forget they also got Jacob Bernard Docker as well. He's been really developing the system as well.
Yeah, like got a lot of young players, a lot of young we got young goalies, young defensemen, young forwards. Like the only thing they're missing is like true centers because it seems like a lot of their best players are wingers. Like they got Norris, but like I don't know if Norris is gonna be that like true number one stud center like Mr. Austin Matthews. We'll get to Austin Matthews in a bit, but I think that's one of the things that the Sens seem to be lacking because their winger depth and their defensive depth seems pretty good even at this stage in their development.
Yeah, you see like Drake Patterson and stuff, the way he was like shooting like rockets when he's taking slap shots. That's pretty scary. That's a scary sight because like you see these young players de developing and stuff. I feel like Ottawa's going to be a very scary team in like maybe 2 3 years.
It's exciting, man. It's gonna be a good rivalry to watch in the future. Maybe we can all go to a game in Ottawa and invade the stadium like Leafs fans always do once all this COVID stuff's done.
I'm gonna pretend I don't know any of you. I'm gonna be like that one Sens jersey in the Sea of Leafs.
In Ottawa, it's a sea of Leafs. You can't forget that part.
Honestly, it happens every time. I've been to a couple of those where the Leafs, and it's like there's the entire upper deck is just all blue, and it's like this is supposed to be a Sens home game, and that
Dude,
is not
even
what I
like
see.
yeah, like even in like Buffalo, like, I think I've been to like two Buffalo games because they're a lot cheaper. Like the Leafs tickets are like stupidly overpriced. But yeah, like I've been to Buffalo for a Leafs game, and like at least 60% of the crowd, 60 to 70% of the crowd are blue jersey Leafs fans. It's crazy. I know like the Sabres fans and the Sabres players hate it, but like that's what's gonna happen, right? Like and like do you guys remember how they were talking about bringing like another team to like Hamilton or like Mississauga or Vaughan or something? Like you really think when the Leafs play the Vaughan Bulldogs or the Hamilton Bulldogs or whatever you want to call them, it's not gonna be a stadium full of Leafs fans? Like, come on.
Probably yeah. Probably it's gonna be, but we're all gonna have the Leafs haters that hate this no matter what, cheering for the other teams, even though they live in Toronto. So it's give or take, right?
Yeah, man, Leafs Nation is strong, yo. Go Leafs, go.
Yeah, that's for sure, bro. Um, yeah. Any other thoughts on the games and stuff, like the lineups and stuff? I liked how Keefe was putting. He kind of tried to change things out. Tried to get like Tavares and Nylander going. He threw Kerfoot on the line. Then eventually, once Austin Matthews and Marner were like red hot in that third game, he like shifted like Marner and Nylander around to play with Matthews and Tavares. Like they're switching them around, getting different combinations going just to like get a spark going in like Tavares and Nylander's game, and it actually worked. And that's the thing I love about Sheldon Keefe. Like I love how he mixes and matches up these lines. Like you don't need to have the same lineup night in, night out, right? Like you don't need to be glued to certain combinations. And it proved it by like having your top line go off and then you move them around and then Tavares and Nylander put up points and goals in that last game. So like I'm happy with that as well.
I didn't like how he moved Marner from the Matthews line at first, but then when I seen like him setting up Tavares and stuff, like that was like it was good to get that spark going, and obviously it paid off well because now you have Nylander has a goal now, and Tavares has a goal, and yeah, it's been crazy, and especially because Thornton, like the whole line was just like crazy last night, like they have like what 11 points altogether. That's
Yeah,
like
man.
crazy.
Joe Thornton's looked so good on the Leafs. But yeah, like
Yeah.
it's good because like now like Tavares and Nylander have the goals and like they can use that momentum and carry it forward into the next game.
Yeah, I feel like that Kerfoot when Hyman was out last night, he produced like what he needed to get the puck on the sticks of Nylander and Tavares, even though they couldn't bury it, but he was getting in the corners, he was secting the puck well with them. It's just the fact that Tavares and Nylander were cold. And when Nylander got that goal, he got his legs moving. Tavares got his legs moving after he got that goal to at the end of the game. It really showed that Keith's not Keith's not ready for like set lines. Like even though VC's struggling, he's trying to get VC all the opportunities to get going. Like even if VC doesn't do well, they got other players like Patan. Well, we'll talk about Chenyuk, but they've got Chenyuk back there as well in taxi squad. Um, I feel like he's giving him all the opportunities. If he doesn't capitalize on them, he's gonna be out of the lineup as well. Engvall got going after he finally scored a goal after like a year on five, which is amazing because the skill set that he has, he can bear a couple a game, but he doesn't. Even Ilya Mikheyev's been he tried every shift. Like even though he's not getting the goal, he tried every shift. I remember when they were killing the penalty when it was 5-4, I mean 5-3, he was hustling back, he was doing everything possible. Like he was doing everything around the PK. Yeah, but that's about it. Patan and Boyd. Boyd is just a good player, but he's just a better leadership that we all need.
Yo, apparently, they were talking about it like during the halftime break, when Engvall scored. They're saying that his goals are cursed because like I don't know if you guys heard it, but they're saying that like whenever he scores, like the Leafs are bound to have a bad game because like
Man,
he
that
scored.
just goes back to like the David Ayres, that whole David Ayres incident. Because he scored in that game, right? Like I think like didn't he have like a goal scoring drought and
Yeah,
then like he broke the drought or something in the David Ayres game and then we all know what happened after that. But man, all these announcers and stuff, like I don't know, Michael, if you noticed it, like watching like the Sportsnet or the TSN broadcast as like a non-Leafs fan, but do you feel like sometimes they really try to boost the other team even when the Leafs playing good?
I mean, the Leafs do good so often. You can't highlight it all the time, can you?
Wow, well, look at that praise for the Leafs coming from Michael.
I mean, you can't deny it though this year, right? It's like they've been a top team. They've played absolutely like ridiculously well. They've been consistent. Like you can't really complain about the play. I mean, okay, there are some complaints, I guess, because you can't be a perfect team. But I mean, you look at them across the board. They brought on the physicality that they've been missing for a while. It's like they look good. And I guess yeah, like the broadcasters are tired of talking about how good the Leafs are, so they're like, okay, well we gotta talk about something else now because you guys are getting bored.
Like, um, well, one sounds like Michael's gonna convert to a Leafs fan sooner rather than later, but we'll see about that. But the thing about the announcers is like you know when you watch like Raptors games and like they have their announcers and like those guys are hilarious. Like they are such Raptor diehard fans. They're so funny. They're always boosting up the Raptors. It's very entertaining to watch. Like the guy that goes like whenever they shoot from far, it's like oh all the way down from Nova Scotia he hits a three. Like that kind of stuff. I love it, right? And like with the Leafs, I feel like it's very the announcers are always trying to be very neutral and stuff. And like I feel like it kind of takes some of the joy out of it because like there'll be sometimes like a ridiculous goal and the announcer won't be as hype as you want him to be. Let's say Joe Bowen was announcing games on TSN or Sportsnet. Imagine that Marner goal where he dangled around the defenseman and put it in the top corner. Like Joe Bowen would have been going absolutely ape shit on that goal, and like that's the kind of stuff I miss out of these games.
Part of it too could be like bandwagon effect, I guess, in a sense of like when the Raptors are doing well and it's like everyone was getting excited and hyped off of it. It was like basically the like them coming in and the way that the announcers were going just like added to the effect, I guess, of the fact that you're getting like an entire country riled up around the Raptors. But I'm pretty sure it was there before, but I feel like that's just something that's like been amplified, I guess, with the Raptors' success and how things were going.
Yeah, like that's a good point because like when you look at the Raptors, even the Blue Jays, like there's no other team in Canada for Canadian sports networks to have to care about, right? Like if there's a Raptors game on Sportsnet, the Raptors commentators, the Raptors analysts, like all the analysts on Sportsnet, they can go hard for boosting the Raptors because they don't have to worry about hurting another Canadian fan base's team because all of Canada like supports the one team. But like let's say there's a Leafs game, they can't like completely boost up the Leafs because they might piss off Ottawa fans or Vancouver fans or Montreal fans, and like that kind of relates to like Tim and Sid. I remember that Tim and Sid talking about how they don't want to be Leafs homers. They want to be able to spread out the love evenly through each team. So I guess that's the difference, right? Like hockey has so many Canadian teams versus with the other sports.
Yeah, with what you said, yeah, it's about spreading it. But I feel like whenever I watch Leafs game, they're always hating on Leafs and people are like it's Toronto Sports Network. When I don't like when the other cities or fan bases refer to TSN as Toronto Sports Network, just cause they put more attention on Leafs, right? But the thing is,
I
I
think it's
don't.
gotten a lot better though. Like you look at like Jeff
Yeah,
O'Neill, he's a hardcore Leafs supporter. Even like Anthony Stewart, he always supports the Leafs when he's like analyzing them. So I feel like they're getting a little bit more diversity. I remember back in the day, it used to be like everyone would shit on the Leafs, but then again, they were shit back then too. So
but I don't get it. Like I don't like clear, but I don't get like why they hating on them even though they're playing well. Even like it just makes no sense to me.
oh well, man, just something you got to get used to. Let's get on to our reasons to plan the parade segment that we started last week. The Negan and Nadim aren't here for this. I was hoping they would have been here by the time we started the segment. They're just gonna join us a little bit late, so they'll hop in whenever. Once they come in, we'll ask them what their reasons were to plan the parade. But for now, let's all go around. So we'll start with Jaskaran. What were your reasons this week to plan the parade?
Um, just getting over the fact that they blew a 5-1 lead. That's facing adversity. That's what my reason to plan the parade are coming back like coming back from getting being 5-1 to playing a close game 2-1. I really thought we discussed it before the podcast, but I felt like they needed that 2-1 game just to like tighten up their system and stuff like that. And then blowing out Ottawa, that's the second game, the second half on a back to back. That really felt nice. And getting Hutchinson a win, the biggest part. He was struggling all night. I'm like, come on, Hutchinson, you just gotta get through this. That first goal he allowed, like, my God, he should have had that. But he got through it. He played decently. He made the save that he needed to make. And I felt, yeah, they faced adversity really well. That's my reason to plan the parade.
Yeah, man, it's a great reason. Michael, I don't know if you like answering this question or not, but what's your reason to plan the parade?
Well, I mean, I can go with the anti reason to plan the parade because as a playoff team, you can't blow a 5-1 lead. like, like getting into that scenario is like they just start kind of coasting, I guess, in the sense of like they kind of let their guard down. They're going, okay, we're up by 4 goals, and I think there was a stat or something where I think with four down by four, like late in the second period, Ottawa historically is like 297-3 or something like that. And then Monday's win was the first time they've ever won after they're down by 4 that late in the game. So it's now 297-3. but something like that, especially to a team like the Sens, is like you really just can't have that happen. Which is, I mean, partially a cause for concern in the future, I guess, because as a team, like you have to make sure that you're never gonna put yourself in that position. Like you should be protecting that lead. I don't know if it's they got complacent or something like that, but that's something that, I mean, coaches are gonna rail that into the players for the rest of the season. So I probably don't have to worry about it.
Man, at least the Leafs set a new record, you know? Like, guy gotta get as many Toronto Maple Leafs in the record books as you can, even if they're bad ones. But yeah. Harmon, what's your reason to plan the parade?
My reason is pretty straightforward. Is the first line scoring. So like once you get those like the big superstars and like the big players are going, uh, you obviously can win games, and if they keep this consistency throughout the season and to the playoffs, they will win games and they could potentially win a playoff series. Yes, I'm saying it. They could potentially win a playoff series, and it's a really big accomplishment to have in your system when you can get your superstars going on a consistent basis.
Yeah, my reason to plan the parade is actually similar to yours, Harmon. Not just the top line, but like specifically Austin Matthews, man. Like the way this kid is playing, I can't say kid, he's the same age as me, but the way this guy is playing is out of this world, man. Like he is already having a historic season. I've never seen not only a Leafs player, but any player play the way and score at will the way he is. Like you talk about Steven Stamkos during his couple of years where he was like a elite goal scorer. You talk about Alexander Ovechkin, like these great goal scorers, but they relied on a different way to score. The way Austin Matthews score is literally at will. He can score any single way you want him to score. His shot is so deceptive and like it's only gotten better, man. Like last year he was already phenomenal and he took another step forward. And like I just want to read that quote that Joe Thornton said. Matthews should be up for the Selkie, the Hart, and the Rocket. This is the guy you want leading your team, and that's what he's doing right now. He is, I'm gonna say, I don't know if this is a hot take, but right now he is the best player in the NHL. I don't, I'm up for debate if anyone wants to debate me on that, but I think he's the best player in the NHL, and if he continues at this pace, he will lead the Leafs to a place they haven't been before. Whether that's the second round, the third, or a Stanley Cup, hopefully, it he will take them somewhere they haven't gone in a long time, and he deserves as much recognition as he can get.
Yeah, bouncing off your point, he's the most enjoyable player that I've ever witnessed. Like I've seen Matt Sundin play, I've seen McGillney play, I've seen Castle play, but Castle was just a frustrating player overall. He wouldn't defend. That's the only problem with him. Yeah, with Matthews, he's back. He's going behind the net, getting the puck. He's helping out his D. He's scoring at will. Like look at his last 16 games. He's been unstoppable. Basically, like Nina said, he's tearing apart goalies. That's that's saying something because people like players usually don't say that. They don't like to hype up their teammates. But what can you say when he has that much goals? And plus Marner's been he's been decent doing decently well with him, setting him up whenever he needs, and the defense like it's how probably doing the best I've ever seen.
The only thing Matthews is missing is that behind the net Michigan goal. That's what he really needs to get.
Oh, that'll come, bro. That'll come eventually. But man, this guy's been playing out of his mind. Like I can't go 16 goals in 17 games. Like the like what was like the big number everyone used to go for back in like the 80s and stuff, the 50 and 50, right? Like he can do it. Like I didn't think it was possible, but he can do it. Like imagine this was a full season, a full 82 season. He could put up like 70 goals with the way he's playing, and like it's not even like you know when like sometimes you see players go on like super hot streaks and stuff, you know it's not sustainable, right? Like they're the way they're getting goals, their shooting percentages, the way they're playing. Like a lot of the times you guys will go on crazy streaks because like the power play is hot on their team, so they're getting a lot of power play points, a lot of power play goals. But like Matthews is doing it 5 on 5. He's creating chances. His teammates are creating chances, and like he's not doing it at an unsustainable pace, which is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I was reading a stat that he's on a 76 goal pace on an 82 game schedule, which is absolutely insane. And I was reading a stat that says that says he only has three less even strength goals in the whole Buffalo Sabres combined. Because he has 16 goals, which is more than the Buffalo had even strength goals, and he has, I think, 13 or 12 even strength goals, and Buffalo only has 15.
Thank God the Leafs drafted him over Line. Imagine.
There was like no competition between him and Laine though when they got drafted. Also, Dunedin just joined back on. We were just on our new segment, the reasons to plan the parade. So, Dunedin, you joined at the perfect time. Over the last week, like the Senators games, what was your reason from these games to plan the parade?
It's just one word, Matthews. Can there
Man, you
like
read my
there's
mind. That's exactly what I said.
I know like okay, I guess we can add another word too, Marner, because that duo has been insane. I think Marner is like what third in the league in points right now.
Dude, Marner's third, Matthews is fourth. Like I saw Marner is 5 points behind McDavid, Matthews is three behind Draisaitl. Like these guys are playing absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and once Tavares and Nylander get it going too, like the entire team is gonna be red hot, right? And like going into the playoffs, if all of these guys can stay like as productive as they are right now, like we're not gonna have those issues of scoring in the playoffs anymore. Because if you look back at like the Boston series and like the Columbus series, every single time we've had issues scoring, and it's been our depth scoring as well. But I feel like everyone's scoring right now. Mikheyev's scoring. Who else scored yesterday? Thornton.
Man, Mikheyev looked good, really good last night.
Yeah, the only guy I want to see score now is VC.
I mean,
And then
I can use that to like kind of cue into our next segment, but like looks like Galchenyuk might even replace VC if he plays well.
if Galchenyuk starts playing well as well, I think you can lock us in for the Stanley Cup.
Oh man, that's as hot as the takes come.
Because I feel like Montreal fans would cry if they saw Galchenyuk win a cup with the Leafs.
Oh man, I want that for the meme so bad. Man, speaking of Galchenyuk though, Michael, I don't know if you caught any of the games where he played with Ottawa, but like if you did, like what were your thoughts on Galchenyuk this season so far?
Honestly, I'm more surprised that he wasn't used more. Like when they signed him in the offseason, it was supposed to be a good pickup, right? It looked pretty solid. You're bringing in someone who's got years of experience as like a veteran to the younger players as a mentor or something like that. He was a decent player for a while. I mean, he kind of fell off, but he did his job. And then he played like 4 games, I think, on the fourth line. He was a healthy scratch, and like the other 10 or so games or whatever he was on the roster for. So I don't know if it was like conflicts in terms of with DJ Smith or what it was. I mean, he looked okay, but I mean, your fourth line, he played like 8 minutes a game, maybe maximum, right? So he didn't really get that much ice time. He got 2, 3 points, something like that. So he wasn't like the expected production that you would think when you hear the name Galchenyuk, I guess. Like back when he was first playing with, like with Montreal, he just wasn't doing the same thing. And I guess that kind of hurts them a bit, or at least hurt him in that regard.
Yeah, man, like he like looking at his stats, like it was only last season where he quote unquote fell off, right? Like the season before that he had 41, then he had 50 points, then he had 40 point season, then he had 50 point season. He's had multiple 40 and 50 point seasons. He's had a 30 goal season, he's had a 20 goal season. Like I'm surprised that like both Ottawa and Carolina gave up on him so quick. I think he should still be given a chance considering that like throughout his career it was really only last year where he kind of fell off, and even at that point he was still on like a almost 40ish point pace last year. So I don't know. I think he can do good. Like I know he has some defensive issues from what I've been reading, but if he can play on the third line or even I think he should be given a shot with Tavares and Nylander. Like he was a former third overall pick. Like he definitely has the skill there. It's not even like he's like a Neil Yakupov where like he completely busted as soon as he came to the league. Like Galchenyuk came into the league and he still produced at like a second line rate. So I think he deserves a chance. Also Nadim is back. We just finished our reasons to plan the parade segment, but Nadim, we'll quickly get back to that. What's your reason to plan the parade for the last week?
Well, what's been said already? Let me see. I don't want to be copying people.
Well, I'm sure you can guess the first one of the main reasons that have been said. Austin Matthews. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah, man, just go with your reason.
I was gonna say Matthews too. He's just because he's been like unreal, just ridiculously good. But I think there's something to be said about like how the team has rebounded from losses and stuff like that too. Like we had back-to-back losses for the first time all season recently. We had a pretty bad loss to Ottawa there, but we came back. We won a tight game right after, and then we had like a blowout game after that. So I think the thing for me is that the team is finding different ways to win, and like they're able to win different games. They can hold leads unless they're 5-1, um, and they can kind of battle back and get back into games and stuff like that. So I think there's a little bit more kind of like I guess maybe it's maturity, maybe it's determination and grit. I don't know, but there's a little bit of something there that we didn't really see as much of last season, where the team would kind of just collapse when things weren't going their way. It seems like they have a little bit more resolve this year, and they can kind of push through stuff and still make games competitive. So that'd be it for me because I feel like those are the kinds of games that you need to be able to win when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like it's gonna be key to the future. It seems like they're playing a lot differently than before.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Also, don't lie. You were definitely getting nervous when that second game hit 5-1.
I was was just trying not to have some PTSD flashbacks, but yeah,
Um,
I didn't think it would happen twice, but you never know. If anybody would do it twice, it would be the Leafs. So
as soon as Ottawa scored, I think it was their second goal. I think I got like two screenshots from like two of my friends, like, "Yo, here it's coming, it's coming."
it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the difference was though that like the first time that happened, those goals were like completely momentum changing. Like they just sucked the life out of the Leafs, like two shorthanded goals. Um, this time it was like they were goals mostly because of like score effects and stuff like that. So, I think it was a little bit of a different scenario, but yeah, you couldn't help, especially since it was like a few days later, you couldn't help but have a little bit of nervousness creep in there.
Look, like those are good reasons, but you know, there's only one main difference between that game, the first game, and the second game, and
Tell me.
Hutchinson.
oh
That's
man,
all
I
I'm
was
gonna
I
waiting
say.
for
was waiting
somebody to
for
bring
that.
that up.
I was waiting for that.
No, I'm kidding.
I think pretty much like you can't dispute it. Hutchinson is our number one goalie. Um, he's definitely the top of the depth chart, and I think he's going to take us to a cup.
Yeah, I'm
He's
gonna
just
change my reason for planning the parade.
100% win
It's all
rate. Like
Hutchinson.
he's insane. Like we can't lose with him
We
in net this season. It's crazy.
might as well trade Campbell. Might as well trade Anderson.
Yeah, even though Campbell's stock is like at an all-time low right now since he hasn't played in a few weeks, I say we just move him for like a seventh or something.
Yeah, why not,
Hutchison for
right?
the Vesna.
Yeah, Hutchinson for the Vezina. Exactly.
Dude, you stole my awards prediction for later in the show.
Did anybody else see the stuff about David Ayres last night? About like because I think Ottawa's goalies were injured, and they thought like maybe Matt Murray was gonna have to come out of the game, and they were looking for David Ayres or something. That would have been something else.
But they actually like flew him in or something to come play.
Well,
That
I
would be the
mean,
craziest thing ever.
he would still be at the rink, right? Because doesn't he? Isn't that how it happened last season? Like they were playing, and then he was the only person at the rink that could suit up.
Well, it's the backup goalie role, I think, right? Where it's like they just have somebody on standby in the event that one of the
Yeah,
goalies is
and
out of
he
commission.
would be that guy.
Yeah, I just don't know if
So
that's still a thing with the with like COVID protocol.
yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know if it
Really
actually
curious
would have been
about.
possible or if he was even in the building, but I saw some tweets about it, and that would have been like, can you imagine going up 5-1 and then David Ayres comes in the net and then the Senators start a comeback? Like, I think all hell would break loose.
I think the Senators' third goalie. I think they have the third goalie in the stands just because of COVID
Okay.
protocol. I think they joined the cord in the stands. I
Yeah.
think it was. They were saying that he might come in because they needed a goalie backup because Hogberg got injured and Murray was injured as well. So I
Yeah, Murray
think I
didn't
think
look
I think
100% for sure.
yeah, for sure. I think
Well,
I
like
think the third
Murray played
goal.
the night before, right? Like, because it was a
Hmm.
back to back, so I'm sure he was like pretty gassed still from the night before.
Yeah, and wasn't he also coming back from an injury, or was that the other guy? Was that Hogberg?
We gotta ask our Ottawa Senators
Yeah, our Ottawa
expert.
Senators insider.
Murray was out for a couple weeks, I think,
He was, right?
or
Okay.
like
Yeah,
yeah, he
so
was out.
he's
He wasn't out for that long, but he was out.
okay. That's why we pay you the big bucks to come on here
Oh,
for
clearly,
information
my
like
whole
that.
salary of zero.
Yeah, we can double it for the next episode if you want.
Oh, I get 2 times 0.
Oh man. All right. Well, we should move on to some trade rumors now. We talked a little bit about Galchenyuk already, but there's still the whole rumor about like the winger the Leafs were looking at. I saw a lot
Did
of
we
stuff
talk?
about Granlund. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did you talk about the Sidney Crosby trade rumors? 'Cause apparently that's
What?
a thing.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, like people have been talking about it to the point where a reporter actually asked him about it apparently, and he was like, "I love playing in Pittsburgh. I'm gonna finish my career here," essentially, which we already all knew. I don't know why it's even a topic of discussion, but I thought it was pretty funny that a question actually got asked about it.
Just for the memes, man. Just for the memes.
Just for the memes, yeah.
But yeah, they're looking at a lot of people are saying Granlund to the Leafs because I know he's on like a 1 year deal, so he's expiring. He'd be pretty good. I heard like he's on Nashville, right? And like the reason he's not performing is because like all of Nashville's not performing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think like if he was playing with better centers like we have, then maybe he'd have a better chance. But yeah, I think the key is that like if you're going out to get somebody, then they have to be on a 1 year deal because we don't have the cap space to keep somebody next year.
Yeah, like it has to be a rental, and that's why like not only Granlund but like Taylor Hall was being thrown around too. Like a one
Yeah,
year
that's
Taylor
that's
Hall.
that's still my prediction. I'm still gunning for it. I think Dubas will make it happen.
Like I said, I have a problem with that. I don't want to trade. Like we've discussed it over on our group chat, but I just feel like it's too much of a risk to take Hall. Like I'd rather take Grounded than Hall, to be honest. That's just me. But like Hall is an elite forward, I understand that. But I would not trade a top prospect to a divisional rival, even though Ike gonna be on his way out at the end of the season, which is my prediction. Because some
I think like
there's something seriously wrong with that organization. Something happening there. Even the fans are calling for Eichel's head for some weird reason. There's even an article written on the Athletic with in terms of Eichel's trade or like even the trade request going to New York Rangers or LA Kings or something like that,
yeah,
which
I
is
think they should trade him to like Seattle for like all of Seattle's picks this year. That'd be pretty crazy.
yeah, but I don't know. That's something else. But with Taylor Hall, there's been mutual things with um mutual mutual conversation with him and the Buffalo Sabres for a contract extension with what I
I
read.
heard that, yeah.
Yeah. which I don't necessarily think that's gonna happen because maybe Eichel on his again. Eichel may
Yeah,
be
I
on his
feel
way
like it
out.
it definitely doesn't happen if Eichel leaves, I don't think. Because then that team is
Yeah,
just like a I don't know what's worse than a dumpster fire. They would be that.
Dude, they already overpaid Jeff Skinner, and now they're gonna overpay
Yeah.
Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean
that
yeah, I
that
mean
that, that Jeff Skinner contract is horrible. Who do you no no
yeah,
who, no who do you guys think is the worst contract? Eric Carlson or Jeff Skinner? To be honest,
Eric
to be
no,
Carlson.
honest,
it's Jeff Skinner,
Eric
man. Like, at
Carlson.
least Eric Carlson's a defenseman that
Jeff
can
Skinner.
log minutes. Jeff Skinner is absolutely fucking useless.
I I
Zach
don't know. I
Hyman is
both
better
are
than Jeff Skinner.
terrible for sure. Both are terrible. To bring it back to the Leafs though, like I think you got to go big or go home this year because how the playoff setup is going to be. Like we don't have to face Boston or Tampa in the first two rounds.
Yeah,
So,
so
I mean, we could either only have to play one of them or they could even both be gone by the time uh, we get to be playing other teams outside our division if we're able to make
yeah,
it that far. So I think because of that, you kind of have to swing for the fences because next year, I mean, you got Boston back, you got Tampa back, you got Montreal will probably be better next year than they are this year. And like, I mean, look at what Florida is doing. If they're gonna stay on that pace and like they're actually a good team, then that's a whole nother thing that we have to deal with when we're back in our normal division.
yeah. So what the thing is, I don't really like accept Craig Button, but like he had a good point, so I gotta give it to him. So he said that in order to acquire a player from the U.S. from to a Canadian team, you need to be able to trade them by mid March. Like the absolute latest, you gotta be having them by mid March, even though mid April the trade deadline, so they can like smooth themselves into the team and get the chemistry in practice and like in games like heading into the playoffs like I think in May if I'm correct. Um yeah, so they
Yeah, I
gotta
think
trade from
so.
mid March. Yeah, so from mid March you gotta be able to be like they gotta get into the team. So if a trade's coming, it's coming soon. Because Dubas does not like to get in at the deadline from previous years. Because Modlin was traded like a month before the deadline, which is the only major trade I think he made before the deadline.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I
Hopefully,
think you need to make it happen a month before so that they can come in and like quarantine and all that stuff. I think trade deadline is going to be really boring this year because I think most teams are going to be getting their stuff done earlier.
hopefully, Taylor Hall asks for a trade to Toronto.
Man, like, I understand
Yeah, I mean,
Desjardins'
why
point
not?
about Taylor Hall. Like, I honestly probably wouldn't want to give up like Liljegren for like 3 months of Taylor Hall, but I don't think there's a market like that for Taylor Hall. I don't think any team is gonna give up one of their top five prospects for a couple months of Taylor Hall, and like because of that, like I think at most
Yeah,
the price could be like a first round and maybe a third or something, and like I'd be happy to give up a first
that's
and a third to Taylor Hall for
the
Taylor
thing
Hall
is
for a
though,
chance
like
to like go for the cup.
how good is Liljegren actually gonna be, and like when is he gonna be ready to play in the NHL? You know, like if we don't lose Dermott to Seattle, like he's not in the lineup next year, and he's probably not in the lineup the year after that unless Riley walks. So I'm just wondering, like, if we're in our prime now and we have a chance to get a real difference maker and it costs Liljegren, I feel like you pay that price because you have Dermott, you have Sandy, and you have Lettinen now. Um, and you have Brody locked up long term, you have Muzzin locked up long term, you have Hall locked up for a couple more years. Like I think we're in a decent spot now where we can afford to give that up.
Stuff though, but I guess we just gotta see what the asking price is and go for there. Like I'm sure there'll be Taylor Hall's not gonna be the only winger available like in the league.
Oh yeah, definitely not. I mean, I just think that like I don't know if Liljegren is that good where we have to be like concerned about giving him up. He could be, I don't doubt that he has the potential, but I just don't know if he's actually going to be that good.
Um, I so when he was drafted, he was more of an offensive defenseman, and now he's more of a two-way defenseman. So they're trying to, so he was way more offensive than he'll focus on the offensive game, not his defensive game. So I think they've like shifted him over, and I just want to see how he's like how he's like been progressing. Cause I know in the AHL he's been dominating. Like even the first three games, I've seen highlights of him. He's been all over the ice, which I think he can translate over to the NHL game pretty well. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking about these prospects, do you guys see all the stuff about the Marlies? Like I'm surprised that like Nick Robertson's playing on the Marlies like as an OHL player, which I'm so happy to see. But I like it. I'm so glad the AHL's back. We talked about this a little bit last episode, but like it looks good. Like you got Robertson down there, Sandine, Liljegren. Like these young guys are getting a good chance to develop and play meaningful minutes on a team that's trying to win, rather than like Sandine coming in and playing 5 minutes in a game, right? Like I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, the sad part is Sandin got injured and he's out for several weeks, so it's been a pretty tough road for him in 2021. Robertson's been doing really well. I just want to see more of a lower prospect do well, like Mark Holloway, Joey Duzak, and all those guys. I feel like they can contribute because I know Mark Holloway he produced in ECHL last year. Um, AHL. I also want to see Justin Bradlow do well. 6'7" right winger. He can hopefully be our next JVR. Get his hand eye up there. I think he scored 60 goals one time in the OHL. I mean the CHL for the North Bay Battalion. Sorry, I about to call them Bantam Battalion, but they made North Bay for so long. Yeah, hopefully he can become something. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm glad with it. Nick Robertson's at I just checked. He's a point per game right now, 3 points in 3 games. So it'll be a good development season for him. Maybe he'll be ready by next year. Um, let's move on from the Leafs now. I know we all love to talk about the Leafs, but we're 45 minutes into this still talking about them, so we should probably move on. Harmon brought up this topic on a couple days ago. What do you guys think about the casual outfits in the NHL? Like seeing Vancouver dress more casually. Like, do you guys like that they're moving away from like the classic, just you can only wear a suit and tie, and like they're trying to like dress more comfy, dress more fashionable, show their personality a bit more? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, man. Personally, I like it. It's a good thing to change up because you don't want to be like a rich guy. Just you wanna portray yourself to a crowd that does not feel rich because most of the guys are rich and they don't want to. Cause that's what NBA and the NFL is more fans. Cause the way they dress, they can dress up and like, they don't like people don't care. Cause this is what it is. What it is, right? You dress up how you want. Yeah, it's good for the game. Cause you don't want to be like stuck up and like like it's a good way to get the game going.
I know Don Cherry is probably pissed about this for sure.
I was gonna say the same thing, to be honest. I was like,
Yeah, right.
Don Cherry would have a segment where he's just like, because he always like points out how sharply dressed players are as they come in.
Yeah.
He'd be pointing out, he's like, this is an outrage. You can't have your guys coming in like, you guys aren't game ready if you're not coming in like fully set up. Like he'd be having a field day out there, to be honest. I mean that would be honestly pretty entertaining. Um, but like overall, I kind of miss it. Like I like maybe I guess it's like just the tradition, I guess, of the way you come in like in a suit. It's like this is you're ready to go, stuff like that. I mean, that's probably just me not liking a whole lot of change, but I mean, change happens. So like personally, I like the suits. I mean, then again, I also had to like wear suits occasionally when I had to go to games, so maybe that's also just personal experience. I kind of miss it.
I like it, man. I think like other sports allow it. Like why not hockey too? Hockey needs more personality in the game. Like hockey, no, like a lot of like other than the young guys nowadays, like a lot of these hockey players are known to be like more robotic. They give reporters the same answers. They dress the same. Like they have no personalities, and I feel like for the fans and for the sport. I like it. I think they should be able to like express themselves through their fashion, be more personable, and like you're seeing now, like I know PK Subban was a really big fashion icon. He was like probably one of the first ones to kind of start it, but now like a lot of these young players, like you got Matthews, Nylander, these Vancouver young players like Besser and Pedersen are doing it now, and like I like it. I think this youth movement is really gonna hopefully change the NHL. Like let them be a little bit more personable.
Yeah, and hopefully it trickles down to like the minor leagues as well. Like as players are growing up and playing in Pee Wee League or whatever, because like that's where it starts. You know, like where players are supposed to show their personalities and stuff. Because if your entire career is about showing up to games like in a professional way, you're never gonna be showing your true personality when you make it to the big leagues. You know?
They also said, like in the video, it said there was for superstitious reasons. So the Vancouver Canucks weren't winning, and they're like, why not just change it up? So they started wearing like their own clothes and their own fashion, and they started winning games. So like if this allows them to win more games and kind of like break that spell or that curse, why not?
I guess it's part of one of the reasons I'm surprised about it too is because like we know hockey players are like ridiculous creatures of habit, right? And like some of the pregame routines that some of these guys go through, where it's the exact same, like to the location, to the stick movements and everything, how they do the exact same thing every single time. Like to me, it's kind of insane. Like just how well they have it memorized. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen some of the videos I have of comparing players on separate nights going through their routines where it's the exact same thing. They do it at the exact same time in the warm up, stuff like that. So I mean, part of that I guess is a bit of surprise, but hey, if it's working for them, then I mean, why not?
All right, on to the next topic. I know just Karan wanted to talk a little bit about that the article that came about Arizona. Sorry about that. But yeah, just Karan, what do you have to say about that Arizona article?
So Katie Strang wrote an article on the Athletic about how the Arizona Coyotes ownership and how like they're really a dysfunctional organization from the top to bottom. So I'm gonna read a couple of things. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. So one is according to multiple employees who she interviewed. So according to multiple employees who met with these individuals, one topic discussed was sexual harassment, both in broader in terms of workplace atmosphere and about one incident specifically, including the team holiday party in December 2019 held at a local restaurant. At the party, an employee of the Morello Group, who is the CEO of the not the actual person but the whoever bought the Arizona Coyotes, allegedly made an unwanted sexual advance toward a female Coyote employee. This incident was widely discussed within the organization. Yeah, so it was reported by 5 employees that told the Athletic that they heard about it. So this is it's horrible for what if you're running an organization that's a horrible gruesome stuff that even like he should be fired on the spot right then and there because it's unacceptable. Also according to her, the Mitchell Miller stuff, the one that he so the blame for Miller's debacle would shift daily within the team offices, with senior leadership determined to understand how Miller could have been drafted, and others looked to make sure they didn't receive the blame. Armstrong was prohibited from participating in the draft as part of the terms of the agreement once he left in St. Louis. He said he spent the time in a different part of the arena in the coach's room. Eventually, a mental performance consultant came under scrutiny, a peculiar development considering she never before considered a key decision maker. That mental performance consultant was not included in any scouting meeting once the front office personnel changed over, and before that, in June pre-draft meeting, she shared concerns about Miller's honesty and transparency. Again, it's just an idiotic move by the organization again, blaming blaming a blaming blaming a person that wasn't even part of a key decision making plan. She wasn't even key decision making before, and you're blaming her now just because and she wasn't even like, I want to draft this kid. It was a fact that it was just she was blamed for it because you got someone to blame for, and it's just so stupid in my opinion to blame her. There's so much in this. There's so much in this article that it's just going on and on and on about. Even when Bill Armstrong was hired, he's like, oh, like, he basically threatened Katie Strang, saying that, oh, I'm gonna tell other GMs what you did, which is absolutely like reckless. Like, it's reckless. It should be not part of the game. You should be able to freely report what you are, because she's an investigative reporter, so she should be able to do whatever she wants with her freedom, without being like without being like judged or something like that. Like, it's just brutal. Like, this kind of stuff does not belong in the game. Um, Even Chaika's tenure. Even after they fired even when they fired Chaika, they just fired Steve Sullivan, because it just out of nowhere they fired Steve Sullivan, who was the GM who drafted Mitchell Miller. There's some kind of like how do I say this? There's some kind of like miscommunication going on between the organization from top to bottom, and it's sad to see, because you're a professional organization. You shouldn't be dysfunctional as they are right now, because it's unbelievable. Like, it makes no sense. Um. Also, they don't pay their vendors on time. Even Sorry, let me go back here. Even though you, again, your professional organization, they threaten their vendors with saying that we're not gonna pay you on time, and like, even the charter, the airlines that they rent out for private travel, they didn't pay them, and they had to go to court in order to pay them, and they were like, oh, we're gonna pay you later on, which they actually did, but in a lesser amount, because they threatened to leave the organization. So that's why they paid them in advance. It's all these sorts of stuff saying that vendors don't get paid on time, and like all these types of like scrutiny going against the dysfunctionalization of the Arizona Coyote organization.
Man, that's a lot to take in, but it's fucked up, man. Like, I feel like the news just doesn't stop coming out of Arizona. It's like shitty news after shitty news. It's like every couple months we just hear more and more crap coming out of that organization. Like that organization has been a failure from day one. They don't get fans. They have no fans. The team is run by idiots. Like, honestly, it's time for the NHL to just cut their losses and move on. Either move this franchise to a new city or just completely cut them and have a new expansion team somewhere else, because it's not working. Like, I'm sick of hearing about the Arizona Coyotes. Like, I don't even want to go up and read these articles because I'm so sick of hearing this shitty news coming out of this team, man.
Yeah, like growing up, the Phoenix Coyotes, or now Arizona, um, like the only thing good about them was Shane Doan, right? Hearing about him because he was a classy player, and then there was also Wayne Gretzky coaching them. Um, they were a trash team, but they didn't have like any bad news about them, other than that they were trash, right? But now we're getting news that they're trash and their management is trash as well. So like I think it's like the final.
There's a
Yeah.
there's another point in the article where they say that a player had to, I think it was Tyler Steenbergen, he had bonuses too, and they didn't pay him, and the agent had to go to the owner and be like, or the GM, and say, we need to get paid now, and they finally paid them after a like 2 month delay or something, and it came up saying that they didn't get paid. And I remember there's a whole debacle going on in the bubble saying that the bonuses weren't getting paid and the contracts weren't getting paid to players. And they're trying to go to court or like arbitration saying that you're you're breaching your contract, which is kind of like surprising with because I never heard of an organization not paying their employees or the players and them having threaten to go to court and be like we need to get paid. That makes no sense in terms of organization standpoint.
Bro, if you're a Batman watching this, like, how can you keep Arizona like as a team part of the NHL? You know, it doesn't make sense. Bad negative news about them. They're trash. Like, they're not bringing anything for the NHL, right?
Dude, they have
Yeah,
no
there was a point.
fans.
Yeah, there's a point in the article saying that remember how there's a industry growth fund going on in the element provided in the leagues, which is arguing the 31 teams, and now the teams are getting upset, like Arizona Coyotes, saying where is this money going? Where is it, like even for Friedman said that the article came out and some teams were unhappy with how the industry growth fund is getting allocated throughout the 31 teams, which is kind of surprising because I never heard that before watching hockey for like 15, 16 years. Yeah, so it's just pretty like dumb to be honest with you, saying that the growth fund is not getting allocated as well as like like it's not like it's pretty dumb to be honest with
So what do you think is gonna happen next, like going forward?
I think they need to move that franchise, bro. That's the only solution at
you.
this point because
Either
there is no
either need to
fixing
move.
this.
Yeah, they either need to move the franchise or Batman needs to get involved ASAP. And what she was saying, she wasn't doing a podcast saying that she didn't get a word from the league either. They're probably gonna solve it from the inside or just the murder corp is just gonna deny all of it and it's gonna keep on happening over and over again until the league gets involved.
But guys, there's something that we're missing here.
Austin
If the
Matthews.
Coyotes didn't
I knew it.
exist, we wouldn't have Austin Matthews.
I
Dude,
knew
I
it.
was thinking the exact same thing. Like,
I mean, on the flip side, if we get rid of them, then there's no risk in him leaving the team. So maybe that is the play.
that's so true.
Or maybe they're just waiting until Austin Matthews comes to fucking get some
I
good
legitimately think
organization.
that's the Coyotes' plan right now. Like their long-term plan is
Austin
just
Matthews.
spend time for the next 4 years doing nothing, and then try to sign Matthews when he's a UFA.
No, I don't. I don't. I
There's
don't. I
no
don't
way
think.
he's going there.
I
No
don't.
way.
I don't. Like even another quote, they were saying that if you want to be or if you want to be part of that organization, it's a complete shit show over there because they don't know what they're doing. Which is I don't know how Matthews gonna get involved, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to pay the whole bonus structure of that salary. He probably wants a big bonus too.
Yeah, I
Man, you
don't
know what I
really
want
see
to
it
see
as a
though?
possibility anymore. Like I think I could see him like maybe going there at the end of his career to play a year or two or something like that. Um,
I
but
think
I
the
don't
Leafs
really
are
see
ready
it
for him.
happening while he's in his prime. The only thing that I could maybe see happening is like he would go to a big US city if he wants to be in the States. But I mean, the options for that are like New York Rangers, Blackhawks, and stuff like that. And those teams don't really have the cap space or the flexibility to take on a contract that would be like that. So
Can we not
I don't
But
talk
to
think there's
about
wrap
any
up this
real
Ottawa?
like
risk.
Arizona, to wrap up this Arizona thing, what I want to see is I want to see them moved, and I want to see them move to like somewhere like Hartford or something. Like bring back like the Hartford Whalers. Like that'll kind of rejuvenate that whole franchise. It'll erase the whole bad memories associated. Like for example, like when like the Atlanta Trashers were a shit show. Like they were not good. They weren't making money for the league. But as soon as they got moved back to the Winnipeg Jets, all memory of the shitty Atlanta Thrashers was erased, and all memory of the Winnipeg Jets was brought back. And now that that franchise is thriving, like as much as Winnipeg's not like a huge city, the Jets are doing good. They have diehard fans. They have a decent team. Like it was good, and I think if they do something similar with Arizona, move it to Hartford, call them the Hartford Whalers. It's a win for everyone in the league, other than like Arizona fans. But like there's like five of them in total, so I'm sure it's fine.
I totally agree with you, Paul. Right there, it's not satisfying seeing a team go through this kind of struggle just to pay their players. It's not working out well. Why just not move into Kansas or even Hartford, but fans actually give a shit about the team. Like there's actually fans going to the games, which is what the league needs at this point, where they are.
All right, well we should probably stop talking about Arizona. We could probably go on this for a long time. We should move on. Yeah, so let's talk about what's going on around the league. We got the outdoor games coming up, Lake Tahoe. I'm pretty excited about that. Seems pretty cool to actually have a game outside, like legitimately outside, not just like outside in a stadium. And then if you guys have any thoughts about the standings and stuff, Chicago's been doing pretty good. I know we were talking about this with Michael earlier, but Sabres have a shit ton of games to catch up on because of like all the COVID postponed games. One thing I want to point out about the standings before I get you guys' thoughts on what's going on in the league. Um, five out of the top nine teams in the league are from the Atlantic Division. Toronto, Boston, Tampa, Florida, Montreal. Five out of the all like how many teams were in our division? Like seven or eight. Five out of those teams are top in the league. Like this is why the NHL needs to go back to 1 to 8 seeding per conference once the league goes back to normal. Because like clearly there are way too many good teams in the Atlantic Division to only have three teams guaranteed to make it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts right now on the standings. What do you guys think about what's going on around the league?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I mean, like, if the NHL's goal is to like showcase the best hockey possible, then they should be putting out the best teams possible. And if you're gonna eliminate like two top 10 teams before they can even get to the playoffs just because of how your playoff seeding works, like that doesn't really benefit anybody. And especially when you look at the Atlantic Division, like there's some good like Toronto and Montreal and stuff like that. Like you want those teams in the playoffs and you want them going far in the playoffs because that's going to bring in a lot more TV revenue for the league. So, I mean, if you can facilitate that a little bit better and make the overall kind of playoff seating more fair by going on a 1 to 8 system, I think that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I agree there. I mean, part of it, I guess, is just overall disproportionate with the way that it's like, oh yeah, we have to make the Canadian division a thing, and then everything else was kind of split separately. But like, yeah, I mean, you can clearly see the strength overall of the division. Um, and it's kind of just ridiculous across the board. I mean, also, if you just look at the standings in general, there's a few surprise teams, I guess, or, well, I don't know if you could say surprise. We addressed Chicago. I mean, you have Carolina sitting at 10-3. I mean, Toronto's still like clear ahead, but also it varies pretty heavily because the number of games that teams have played go from, I think 19 is the lead. Ottawa's played the most games in the league, down to 11 for New Jersey, who has to catch up. So, I mean, we'll see how the standings change. I don't think it'll do a whole lot overall, the standings, though.
Ottawa's played 19 games.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now where they're 4-14-1. They played the most in the league. Detroit. Oh, actually, hold on.
Four,
Vancouver's played
14,
20.
and one, and two of those wins are against the Leafs.
Holy shit!
Vancouver's actually played 20 games. They're 8-11-1. So
Wow.
they're the league leader.
You know what's really surprising to me? Like, um, Montreal and Chicago, who were both the 12 seeds going into the bubble last year, who both won their first play-in round in the bubble and went on to the first round of the actual playoffs, are now carrying that momentum and doing so well this year. I think that's really interesting to me. I don't know what do you
Chicago,
guys think about
especially, like you look at Chicago, they don't have Taves, they don't have Kirby Doc, and they're still doing this. They don't have Corey Crawford either. Like, I don't know how they're doing this well. Part of it is that they've played a lot more games than everybody else. Like, I don't think that this is sustainable for them, but it has been pretty crazy to see, like, how well they're doing while they're missing, like, all these really key players they had last year. Um, Kane has been on a tear though. He's been unreal this season so far.
Yeah, Chicago's
Um,
done like really good, but I think they're 13th when you do it by winning percentage. Um,
Yeah, part of it
yeah,
is
like
just that they've played way more games.
yeah,
But
exactly.
even still, like we expected them to be like 28th. So
Yeah,
it's still pretty solid.
I have two Chicago friends, and both of them said like they were going to be tanking this year. They had no idea that they would be this good, and
Chicago.
it's partially because of their rookies. Because like guys like Lankinen, who took over the starting goaltending position this year, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and
Yet, yeah.
their other young guys too, like DeBrincat has been pretty good this year.
Oh yeah, that first line has been really good. Their center this year is Suter, some rookie as well, centering DeBrincat and Kane. He's been really good. And then you have Khrushchev or something like that. That guy's been pretty good. And like overall, it's like they're getting some depth scoring as well. So we'll see um, how long they can keep this up for. But for now, it's pretty good.
Oh,
guys, can we just
and you're
guys can
forgetting
we
about
just
Kubalik.
Yeah, Kubelik's doing pretty
Oh
good too.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
How's
on my fantasy
Dylan
team,
Strome
so he's
been
killing.
doing? Like I thought Dylan Strome would have got a really good chance with Taves out.
I think he was supposed to be on the first line to start the season, and then I think Suter outplayed him or something. I don't know what happened there.
Dude, thank God we took Marner over Dylan Strome. Oh my God.
guys can we just go back to our 2016? Can you just go back to that Cheniak trade for a second? The other way was going back Korsakov.
No, just
What a
Karn, we
waste of
can't go back.
what a sorry man, but what a waste of a pick.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah, go
what
ahead,
a
go ahead.
what a sorry, but what a waste of a pick. Could have Jordan Kyrou, Alex the Brinkat, but you draft Igor Korsakov out of all of them, and he doesn't even play he played one game for you and he shipped him off. It's just depressing to see. But like, yeah, but my pick is the New Jersey Devils. It's the most surprising team. Um, you see them have like the goalie, the poor couple, COVID problem early in the season, but now they look like they're playing really well. They beat Boston last night, which is pretty big. They've got some rookie named Shugon. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it starts with S. It's a long Russian name, Sharangovich or something like that. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but he's been really well. Um, Underrated one of the upcoming goalies, Mackenzie Blackwood. This guy's insane. He's on Carter Hart level. He's so good. He could be a possible backup for Team Canada. That's how good he's been doing.
Man,
And
one
to
team
be
I'm
fair,
surprised is not doing better is Colorado. Like I guess they've played a lot less games than like for example St. Louis and stuff, but I was under the impression Colorado was gonna run away with the President's Trophy this year, but I don't know. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is like, cause I mean, we're talking about New Jersey. New Jersey's only played 11 games. They've been out of commission with COVID for like the better part of the last 3-4 weeks. So they've only played 11 games. They have a ton of time to catch up to us, really, assuming all those games happen. Because I know they're like inserting makeup games here and there. But assuming if New Jersey gets up to speed and they start picking momentum, like they're gonna rocket up the standings. So they're 23rd right now, like league wise, but they've played 6 to 9 games fewer than the rest of the league, and I think that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, like on top of that, like those 11 games, Nico Hischier was injured in the beginning, and people were saying that he was supposed to come back right before the whole COVID shutdown happened with New Jersey. So if he's good to go by the time like New Jersey like ends up playing a bunch of games, like him coming back and them kind of like getting it together and getting those games caught up, you're right, they could shoot up the standings. It could be a surprise. But I don't know, that division's gonna be tough, man. It's a loaded division there, and like it's hard to see them like topping over Washington or Philly or Boston for one of those top three spots, but it's gonna be pretty much them fighting between like like
It's
Pittsburgh
actually
and the
top four,
Islanders
no?
for that fourth spot. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be them fighting
Yeah, okay,
with
yeah, yeah.
Pittsburgh or the Islanders trying to get that fourth spot. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the Islanders are really good at shutting teams down. They held Buffalo to 0 goals in the third period when they were leading. That's just insane. Baytrot has been playing a good system over there, but just sometimes it just doesn't work out.
All right, let's. You guys want to move on to some predictions now? All right, so we're kind of like going pretty long right now. So what we'll do is we're gonna go through each award. Um, just say your name for the award, and then just give a quick, like a very brief description on why you think that player deserves it. Right. So we'll start off with the heart, and we'll go in the order. Like I don't know if you guys have the same order on the clean feed, but it's like for me, it's Jaskaran, Michael, Harmon, Tanegan, Nadim, and then I'll go. So we'll start with Jaskaran. What's your pick for the heart?
It's gonna be between McDavid and Matthews. McDavid just, I think the Hart is the MVP of the team, right? Who's the most valuable player to a team? Is that it? Or is the most valuable player to the league?
I think it's
To the
MVP period.
It's the team, right?
No, like to the just most. Oh, it's a
Because
good question.
I think it's the Hart or the Art that's that. I'm not even sure. But I got it between Matthews and McDavid. Matthews just on a whole different level. McDavid just carrying the Edmonton Oilers. Poor guy. Can't get any help except Leon Draisaitl. Picks off of him. That's my opinion. But like, yeah, Matthews and McDavid. Yeah, number 1 and 2 in the league.
It's
McKinnon's been
cheating
there.
to pick
McKinnon.
two players. You gotta pick one, Jaskaran. Come on, what?
Oh
You
my
gotta
god.
pick
I
one right
gotta. I
now.
gotta. I gotta give it to It's gonna be hard. I gotta give it to Matthews though.
All right, Matthews.
Yeah, I
Final
gotta give it.
answer. You're locked in now. The end of the season, whether you're right or wrong, I'm holding you accountable.
If he's wrong, we kick him off the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. You're kicked
This
if you're
guy.
wrong.
That goes for everybody now, right? Everybody who's wrong. There's gonna be no one left at the end of the
Top four
podcast
time.
because we're all gonna be wrong.
All right, Michael. What's your pick for the heart?
I mean, right now I think I'm gonna have to give it to McDavid, which is maybe just an easy answer to be honest. But I mean, this will also heavily depend on the state of Edmonton, I guess, by the end. But I feel like McDavid still provides the best the best like I guess overall performance to his league in terms of in the league of like carrying his team, doing like making plays, dishing the puck out, shooting, scoring. Like he does everything on just like a whole elevated level. I think. I mean, the only player that I'd probably put close to him is like you're basically looking at Matthews and McKinnon, right? Of like your three players that are probably your best in the league. But I'm still gonna give it to McDavid. No bias because I have him on fantasy either, but
Are you sure you don't want to pick Tim Stützle for that?
I'd give him my rookie pick. I don't think he's MVP.
I'm just joking.
Like he's not perform. Yeah, like if I was gonna say Ottawa, like only Ottawa, then I'd give it to him. But this is league wide, right? And when you have guys like McDavid and Matthews in the pool, I don't think you can contend.
I changed my answer to McDavid just because Toronto biased media. I gotta give it to McDavid. Sorry, I gotta give
All
it
right,
to
just
McDavid.
this is your last chance, man. Lock it in.
I'm changing my answer. I gotta give it to McDavid. Sorry.
All right, no more. You can't change it 5 minutes from now. You change your mind. You're on McDavid train now. That's it. All right, Harmon, what's your pick?
I'm going for Matthews for the Hart Trophy. He's gonna score 50 goals, maybe even more. So that's obviously a clear reason why he's gonna be the MVP of the league. So Matthews for the Hart.
It's a great pick, man. Canadian, what do you think?
It's going to be the same answer as everyone else. McDavid. Compared to the rest of his team, he's like light years ahead of them. So when you look at the Maple Leafs or like any other team, you have like a bunch of guys that are pushing them forward. If McDavid can carry Edmonton to the playoffs, he's hands down the Hart Trophy winner.
Yeah, so that's a good case for him, man. Nadim, what do you think?
Hart Trophy. I don't know, man. That's tough. I want to say Matthews, but I also think that uh, like if Chicago stays this good, I don't think they will, but like if they do, I could see Kane getting it. If I had to predict the end winner, though, I think I would go Matthews as long as the Leafs win the division.
Okay, you mentioned the one I was gonna pick. I was gonna say Patrick Kane. I wanted to say something a little bit different than everyone, but like to me, the MVP, because I know there's the whole definition of is it the MVP of the league, is it the MVP of the team? In my opinion, it should be the one like the MVP of your team. Like that's the most important team. Who's the player that mattered the most to their team? Like if you took Austin Matthews off of the Leafs, like the Leafs would still be a playoff team. Yes, they probably wouldn't be number one in the league, but they'd probably still be a playoff team. You take McDavid off of the Oilers, they still got Leon there to completely tear it up, right? But like what Chicago is doing this season, and if they continue to do this throughout the whole season, I think Kane deserves a serious consideration. I think he definitely get nominated. I think he deserves it though because I'm so shocked at what Chicago's doing. So that's my pick at least for the Heart. Let's move on to the next one. This one should be pretty straightforward. Hopefully we can get through this in like a couple minutes. But the Rocket Richard Trophy. Just Karen, what do you think?
Matthews, if he keeps the pace up.
Yeah, no question. And Michael, what do you think?
I mean, I agree. Like at the rate that Matthews is scoring, I mean, I'm looking at the list right now. You have Bozer in second, and Draisaitl and Toffoli. Toffoli's actually I'm pretty surprised about, even though I have him on fantasy and I'm fully aware of how many goals he scored. For the fact that he's anywhere close. Oh man, I got a lot of the guys on this list. Okay, sorry,
Okay,
off
we
topic.
get it.
But
We get it.
but
we get it.
Yeah, it's just
but if Matthews
casual
continues
flex
at
in the middle of our podcast. Okay.
That comes
but if
on
Matthews
our
continues at this
podcast,
pace,
then
it's
he
over.
flexes. Oh man.
It's okay, Shio. You can say you think it's Tim Stützle. We won't make fun of you.
No,
And by
absolutely
that, I
not.
mean we will make fun of you. But
We'll
you
never
can
see
still say
Michael
it.
back on this podcast again if he says that.
I mean, you're gonna make fun of me anyway, so I might as well do what I can.
Yeah. Harmon.
But yeah, if
Yeah, sorry,
it
go on.
continues at the current pace, it's Matthews.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Harmon, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Matthews. You know, if he just keeps this same thing, scores this many goals, scores 50 goals, yeah, he's gonna win it.
All right, the Negan.
I'm gonna change up my answer here. You guys are gonna hate me. I'm gonna say Draisaitl. Just
Get
because
off
Buddy,
right
you're
now.
gone. You're gone. You're kicked
Yeah.
out.
Barnes,
This is
can you
last
Outta
kick him?
here!
This is last episode.
Just kick him real quick.
Look, we can't have everything this year, okay? We can't have the Stanley Cup and Rocket Richard.
I
Why
think
not
we
both?
can though. Yeah, I think we can.
Will.
All right, I'm gonna say Draisaitl for now, but we'll see.
Hey, buddy, you
Wa-
can't do what
watch
just
him be
Karen
the
does and
only
keep
correct
changing your
person.
answer. All right, Nadim, I already know what you're gonna pick. You got this guy on your fantasy team. Who do you think?
What's this one?
The Rocket.
Oh, the Rocket. Yeah, it's Matthews. No worries. I mean,
Yeah.
I need him for my fantasy team, so I have to believe in him. He's gonna take it, no question. If he's healthy, he takes it.
Yeah, man. Austin Matthews.
Then you
I'm
can-
not gonna. Everyone already said what they all said, but 16 goals, 17 games. That's all I have to say.
I'm gonna
He's
I'm gonna
ridiculous.
take a I'm gonna take a shot at sneaking here. Drysdale cherry picks his way to the Rocket shard. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, the
Look, if it
Oilers
works,
missed the
it
playoffs,
works.
but Draisaitl gets 60 goals.
That's the story of McDavid and Draisaitl. That's gonna be the story for the entire career. Art Ross and Rocket Richard winners can't make it to the playoffs.
One career playoff round win, which I mean is still more than we have in this era, but not for long.
Not for long, guys. Not for long. All right, this one's gonna be interesting. The Norris Trophy. So, just Karen, we'll start with you. What do you think? Who's your Norris Trophy winner so far? Only one pick, please.
It's a tough one. The tough one. Like I have no pick right now. To be honest, I've been watching these games. I haven't kept over the rest of the league. To be honest, with you. I have no pick.
Buddy, just give us any name, man.
Justin Hall, happy.
There you go, Justin Hall. Let's go. All right, Michael, what's your pick?
I'm gonna say, phew, like, I mean, fair. I haven't watched enough games to really be aware of goaltender performance, but I want to say John Gibson has probably done like a way better job than was expected this year out of him. Either him or maybe Mrazek, because I think probably like,
James Norris is the best defenseman, by the way.
Yeah, we're talking about Norris, like for defenseman.
oh
Best
shit,
defenseman.
I was literally looking at the Vezina. Okay, defenseman. I have no idea either, to be honest. Like I don't know how Makar was doing. Maybe Quinn Hughes, although
Michael,
he's
just
probably
Michael,
been
just
like
say Thomas Chabot and get it over with.
he's injured. He's been out. He's been out for like half the season.
Awkward.
I'll say Quinn Hughes though. I thought he should have got it last year, but I think maybe he'll earn it this year.
Yeah, that's a good one. Harmon, what do you think?
I'm gonna say Victor Hedman because I see him on. He's like I think he's top 5 in the league right now. Like yeah, he's at the 3rd spot. So I feel like he's gonna win it.
All right, Demegan.
Sorry, I gotta change my answer again. I gotta do the Quinn Hughes.
Oh man, just started.
Okay,
Okay, I'll allow it.
mine's gonna be like a dark horse for the Norris. I'm gonna say Ivan Provorov.
Ooh.
I haven't watched enough of Phillies games to know if he's like dominating every game, but so far, like in the games I've watched, he's done really well, and he's averaging 26 minutes a night, which is 3rd in the league so far. So yeah,
All right, Nadim, what do you think?
Yeah, Norris pick. I think I gotta go Quinn Hughes just because he's been racking up the points, and we all know that usually ends up being the award for just the defenseman that has the most points. And I can only imagine like once Vancouver starts to get things together a little bit more, if they do, then I mean he's gonna get even more points. So I feel like it'll be him.
I'm gonna go a little bit off the board here. I'm gonna say Drew Doughty. He's having one of the best seasons he's had in a long time. I know
buddy,
the
this isn't
NHL.
2012, right?
Buddy, he has 13 points in 15 games, and he's averaging 26 minutes a night. He's better than your Ivan Provorov pick. Like, get out of here.
Weren't you a
All
Philly
right?
fan at one point?
I
You,
was a Philly fan, okay?
you know what it is? It's he doesn't have to play Matthew Tkachuk this season, so he's able to actually play hockey.
That's why.
There's no distractions out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like looks like he's having a bounce back season. I know the NHL loves to give awards to the same guys year in year out. Like you look at the Selkie, it's the same 3 dudes winning it every year. So I think it'll be something similar. I think if if LA manages to squeak into the playoffs, and it looks like I think they're like 4th or 5th in their division, and like Drew Doughty continues to do what he's doing right now, I think he definitely deserves a nomination. I think he can win it because this year it seems pretty out in the open on who could do it. And you guys are saying Quinn Hughes, but Quinn Hughes has 20 points only because he played 20 games. So you got to remember that too. All right, next one, Calder. What's your guys' Calder picks? Just fine, you go first.
I got Kirk Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild. He's making the Wild more enjoyable to watch than they were before.
Final answer?
Yes.
All right, Michael, you go.
Just so I don't screw this up again, Calder is the rookie, right?
Yep.
Okay. Honestly, I think I fully just read Norris last time and then just thought it was Vezina for some reason. I want to say, so like as much as Stutzel's been like a standout, I'd probably actually say Josh Norris. I feel like his performance so far, like he is running, I'm pretty sure he's on the first line at least and everything, but like he's honestly done a pretty good job. Maybe not as standout as Tim, but he's definitely been a very consistent player over the course of the season. And I mean, you do have a pool of rookies to pull from on Ottawa, but like I think I'd give it to Josh Norris. I mean, we'll see how things go, but it's not like you see anything from like Lafreniere. Like there really hasn't been anything about him ever since like the draft, honestly. So it's like not too sure what's going on there. But I think I'll pick Norris as my first pick.
Yeah, Lafreniere hasn't been playing good, but like to be honest, that whole Rangers team is like playing like shit right now. Like a lot of things I'm hearing is like the coaching and stuff is not working with their players. Like they have a lot of talent, but it's just not clicking. But yeah. Harmon, who's your pick for the Calder?
My pick for the Calder has been Nils Hoglander because I feel like he's like underrated. I feel like he's like a Nylander type of player, and he's very good. Like he has very good puck skills, and he has a nice shot. So I feel like he's gonna be contending, and he will be the top three, top two.
Are you saying he's like a Nylander just because they both got the Lander in their names?
No, no, I'm saying it wait that too, but like they have a similar playing style. Like I see flashes of Nylander in Hoglander. If you guys agree with me, I don't know.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that series with Vancouver. Negan, what do you think?
So this year's rookie pool is kind of ass, to be honest. Other than like Stutzel and Norris and Hoglander, but I'm gonna go with Kevin Lankinen because if Chicago makes the playoffs, I think Lankinen is gonna be a major reason why. So far, he has like a 2.29 GAA and 930 save percentage, which is pretty amazing considering like Chicago's defense is pretty meh, you know?
Yeah, man, he's doing amazing. He literally came out of nowhere. Nadim, what's your pick for the Calder?
Calder pick. Yeah, Norris, like Shio mentioned, is a good one. I think I'm gonna go the Chicago guy, Pius Suter. I mean, he's been a complete surprise. But he is tied with Norris for the points lead, and he's got one less game played, 6 goals already. He's got some power play points as well, and he's averaging like over 15 minutes of ice time every game. So um, I think he's a pretty solid pick if he keeps up his pace, and a pretty big surprise considering I didn't even know he existed until this season started.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. I'm gonna go Stützle. Um, like I feel like
Boo.
it's a boring pick, but I feel like he's like the big name out of all these rookies, right? Like other than Kaprizov, who had a lot of hype coming into the season, like
Yeah.
Stützle has been tearing it up. It seems like he's been getting better as the season goes on, so I think that's a good sign too. But yeah, that's my pick. All right, next on the list is the prediction we already got from Michael. We're gonna talk about the Vezina Trophy now. Tiskarn, who's your pick for the Vezina?
So if New Jersey goes far, I'm gonna say Mackenzie Blackwood. Just because the way he's playing, the way he's moving in the creases, it's really nice to see a goalie come out of nowhere and be as talented as he is.
I think I'm still going to go with John Gibson, even though I don't think he has the stats to back it up. I think just overall in terms of performance, he's probably just been playing one of the best, I think. But I guess if you look at it stats-wise, it's probably Mrazek, which is kind of a surprise to me. But I guess he's been playing well. I don't know how many games he's played. Or is this where I say Matt Murray?
I think you should say Matt Murray, especially after that 7-3 loss.
Yeah. No, I'll say Gibson. Probably going to be wrong, but I'll say Gibson.
That's a good one. That's a nice hot
I
take we got there.
I think he's like he's performing better than expected, and like after so long or whatever where it's been mediocre, it's nice that he's having a good season.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hyman, what do you think? Who's your Vezina winner?
I'm gonna go with the obvious one. I'm gonna pick Vasilevsky because I feel like he's just gonna like climb up the leaderboard and he's gonna be at the top because like he's like the best goalie, which is probably debatable. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Andre Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vasilevsky as well. Um, Especially since like the people that award uh, this trophy usually do it by the stats, and Vasilevsky has the best stats by far. Playing behind Tampa's defense obviously is an easy way to get those stats to look nice, but even then he's a really good goalie, so that's my pick.
All right, Nadim, I know you gotta go soon, so let's get your last prediction in for the Vesna, and then you can head out.
Yeah, I got a dark horse pick here. Marc-Andre Fleury is my Vesna pick. Complete rebound season. He's got 7 wins in 9 games. He's got a 1.56 goals against average, 937 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Like this guy's been unreal. And Robin Leonard is, I think, currently still injured, so he has a good opportunity here to like commandingly take the Vegas net. And I mean, Vegas was looking to deal him, but they're also looking to win a cup this year. And if he's playing this well, I don't know if they can afford to let him go right now. So, yeah, he's my pick.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm gonna go a little bit off the board too. I'm gonna say Philip Grubauer. I said before, like Colorado's not doing the greatest, but he does have 8 wins in 11 games. 936 save percentage, 1.64 goals against average. He's playing amazing. And he's like the only one other than like the big names, right? Like we're saying like Fleury, Vasilevsky, like all these guys. But Philip Grubauer is really taking that Colorado team and helping them win. He also has 2 shutouts, which is a lot this season. Like there hasn't been too many shutouts going on, so that's pretty good too. And I think like Colorado is only getting started. Like I said before, like Colorado surprised me that they're only doing this well. I think they have another gear they can step into, and if they do, it's going to be Grubauer there backing them up. So he's my pick for that. Up next is the Selkie. This is a weird one because there's literally only 3 winners every three. The same 3 guys are nominated every single year. So unless we get some like crazy hot takes, who are your guys' Selkie winners?
I got Barkov, just because they like to go with those 3 guys, Barkov, Couturier, and Bergeron. Pretty obvious they're going to go with those 3 just because the bias against Toronto. Matthew probably not going to be um, voted for the Selkie, so I got to go with, even though he's third in takeaways, but I got to go with Barkov because the repetitive nature of the NHL.
All right, Michael, go for it.
This isn't going to be an original pick. I'm going to say Bergeron. Just, he's consistent every year with the level of defensiveness that he plays. I think he's got a pretty good shot. And I mean, he won it, 3 times, I think, already? We can make it 4.
Harmon, who's your pick?
I'm gonna pick a dark horse here. I'm gonna choose Mark Stone. I feel like he's gonna surprise people this year, and I feel like he's gonna win the award.
I won't lie, I really like that pick.
I like
That's
that
a
pick.
I
I know
like
why
that
you
one.
don't like that pick, Michael, but I think
No,
that's a good pick.
No, I actually think it's a good pick. I don't know if he's got a lot of recognition for it in the past, but he's probably been one of the players that's been up there in that regard. I agree.
He definitely deserves it. Like he's a beast defensively out there. Like I know we talked about the Team Canada Olympic roster last episode, but I mentioned there too. Like Team Canada was to have a shutdown line. Like Couturier and Mark Stone both have to be on that line, and they're both deserving. And I think Mark Stone's a really good pick, Hartman. Denegan, what do you think?
So I was gonna say Mark Stone too, but I'm gonna give my dark horse vote as well for. I'm gonna give it to Mitch Marner. So while
Oh
Matthews
man,
gets, yeah, like it's not that hot of a take in my opinion,
yo,
to be honest.
guys, Denegan said Leon for the Rocket, and now he's just trying to get back on our good side by saying Mitch for the Selkie. This is what it is.
Look, buddy, you want me to
It's
say
got a double
McDavid?
agent, yo. It's got a double
I'll say
agent.
McDavid for Selkie as well. don't
Yo, what the
don't tempt me. No, I'm
Oh
joking.
my god.
But I gotta go with
Yo,
Mitch Marner.
Thinking, I know you want to say Pavel Datsyuk, bro, but he's retired, so you can't.
If he was still playing, I would have said Pavel Datsyuk hands down. But yeah, so Mitch Marner, because um, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but like Mitch Marner, every PK has been like he stood out. Like the amount of effort he puts in to on his back checking and like for takeaways. He's currently fourth in takeaways in the league with 16, ahead of Matthews, who has been getting like recognition for the Selkie from a few people around the league. I think Marner deserves it more though.
Yeah, like honestly, like as much as I'm poking fun at you, like Marner has been really key defensively with the penalty kill. He's out there in the final minutes of the game. Like whenever like we pull the goalie, Marner goes back and plays goalie. Like, but like even on like in terms of like the power play we talk about, like when you're on the power play and you have four forwards and one defenseman, Marner is the guy they trust to play the point because he he's able to play that defensive role, right? So like that's a good pick. For me though, I think I'm gonna say, oh, man, it's so tough because like it's literally the guys all the time, right? So I think I'm gonna go with probably Ryan O'Reilly. St. Louis is having a great year. Um, yeah, like there's not much more to that. Like I'm gonna take the boring pick, Ryan O'Reilly. All right, next up, we got two left. We got the Art Ross and the Jack Adams. Art Ross, most likely gonna be McDavid, but I can see some surprise picks here. What do you guys think about the Art Ross?
Yeah, I got McDavid. And that's because McDavid. No other reason why.
Michael, go ahead.
I'm gonna say Draisaitl over McDavid. I think I'll give it to Draisaitl here.
But he has both of these guys on his fantasy teams. It doesn't matter who wins to him.
You're not
All
wrong.
right. Man, it's so bullshit. I still can't believe you have both of them on your fantasy team.
Okay, but I drafted Draisaitl like 3 years ago, before he was
Yeah.
really good.
So it's a fluke. All right.
But I'm not
Ivan, go
complaining.
ahead.
I'm gonna pick a dark horse. I don't know if he's gonna catch up in the standings, but I'm gonna go with my boy Nathan McKinnon. I feel like if he starts producing and he can catch a break on like a hot streak with points, I feel like he can get up there. So I'm gonna go with Nathan McKinnon.
That's a good one, man. He dominated last year. He can go on a hot streak and easily catch up again. Negan, what do you think? Who's your pick?
I'm gonna have to go with Mitch Marner again. This guy's playing like 23 minutes a night. It's so easy for him to rack up points playing on, like playing every important minute that Keith wants him to play. So yeah, and he's only a few points behind McDavid as well. He has 27 points while McDavid has 32. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. My pick was actually gonna be Mitch Marner as well. Looks like the Leafs are sweeping the awards this year, boys. But yeah, like the way Mitch Marner has been playing, it seems like half the goals the Leafs are scoring, he is a part of it in some way or another. Like he looks like a magician. He looks like you remember like the year after he got drafted when he played on London Knights and he completely tore it up. Like he looks like that Mitch Marner again. Like it's crazy how he's playing that. But yeah, that's my pick. And then let's go on to the last one. This one's gonna be interesting. The Jack Adams Award. Who's your guys' winners for the best coach this year?
So the Jack Adams is the trophy that goes to the most surprising team, e.g. the Vegas Golden Knights in 2018. When they first came to the Winter Stanley Cup final, George Goulet won it. I think John Tortorella won it. So I gotta go with Joe Quenneville, of the Florida Panthers, just because it's the most surprising team.
I'm gonna say if Chicago keeps up what they're doing, I think they'll win it. I guess just because they're such a big surprise overall. After last season, like they were expected to tank the season, and then they're doing well. So I think if they make playoffs, maybe they go past the first round or something. Actually, the awards handed out before playoffs.
No, I think they do it later,
it's
but they're
handed
not supposed to
after.
consider. They're not supposed to consider
Yeah.
the playoffs.
I think if they finish top 2 in their division, I think it'll go to Chicago.
All right, Harmon, what's yours?
I'm gonna go with Sheldon Keefe. So if the Leafs they have a very good season this year, like they finish in the top seed, the first spot, I feel like Keefe deserves it after what the season before had in store for them. So I feel like yeah, Keefe should win it.
All right, then you get Mitch Marner is not allowed to win the Jack Adams, but you gotta pick somebody else.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure by now Michael's realized that we're all biased and we always pick Leaf players. But I'm gonna go with Sheldon Keefe as well. Um, I know the Leafs weren't supposed to like surprise anyone by being this good, but like the fact that Sheldon Keefe replaced one of the best former coaches in Mike Babcock and like just completely took over and like revamped the team. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Sheldon Keefe.
He was the
Telling you
worst
guys,
coach.
man.
He was the
So,
worst coach, but like
yo,
in terms of like,
don't trigger just Karn, man.
I knew I
I
was gonna
got
trigger someone.
PTSD, PTSD from that.
Yeah, man. What Sheldon Keefe's done with the Leafs, like it's unbelievable. He's got this whole team to buy in, and they're all playing his system. But the one I'm gonna take is gonna be off the board again. Well, not really, because Florida Panthers are playing unreal this year. I think it's Joel Quenville that's the coach right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but whoever, like, he deserves it for sure. Like, Florida is playing way better, and just Karn said, it's the surprise trophy, right? Like, to me, the two biggest surprises right now are Chicago and Florida, but I think specifically Florida because of how well they're doing in the division they are in, right? So, that's my pick there. Well,
But let me throw this
yeah.
out there. Like, um, Toronto's defense has been like considered like one of the worst for every year basically. And like, if the Leafs like magically, or not magically, but like if the Leafs do prove that their defense can be consistently really good, doesn't Sheldon Keefe deserve like a massive praise for that?
No, you're right. Like, I would pick Sheldon Keefe too, but I knew you guys are all picking it, so I'm like, you know what? I'll go a little bit off the board.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yo, I'm all for the Leafs sweeping the awards. I already know what our clickbait title is gonna be this week.
What is it?
Leafs sweep the awards, bro. Come
Oh
on,
my
I'll
god.
Mitch
We just
Marner
need
for Jack Adams.
we just need Michael to say those exact words.
Michael, give us that hot quote.
Do I have to?
It's okay.
I'm
Listen,
here to provide some unbiased opinions. That is clearly not in favor of Ottawa whatsoever, but it balances it out slightly.
Yeah, man. All right, well, we should probably wrap it up. This is probably our longest episode so far, but I had a blast today. It was fun talking about the Leafs and Sens series. Michael, you're welcome back anytime, man.
Oh, much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael's
Good.
Michael's low key wearing his Spezza Leafs jersey next game.
Yeah, you gotta buy a special Leafs jersey now.
Dude, I have a Sens, like an autograph one from the Sens from him, and it's like that would hurt putting a Leafs Spezza jersey up. Like I'll still root for the guy. He's my favorite player of all time probably, but like I can't buy a Leafs jersey, man.
So if
It's
the
always
Leafs
good to
go in
have
the
you on, Mike.
playoffs, Michael's gonna root for the Leafs, and he's gonna use Jason Spezza as the excuse to root for the Leafs. That's what I know is gonna happen.
If they're in the finals, I'll do it.
All right, we're gonna hold you to that, man. All right, guys. Anyways, we should wrap up this podcast now. It's been a long one. Make sure to follow us everywhere on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you guys watch it, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is. And thanks for listening, everyone. See you guys next week.